Alright, so I had, it's a new morning by the way, so I had a few things to do this morning, a couple errands to run, and then I went to Home Depot and got a collection of some electrical supplies, which I'll show you why in a minute. I got a few switches, got some new plugs, got some clamp connectors, some out covers, and a junction box. This requires a trip into the attic. First things first, need some light. So here's the attic, and here's what I've been doing with. I've already have some tools up here because I was working up here the other day to try and fix the mess that I found, and yeah. So, over here in the corner. So, as you can see, I got myself a nice brand new line that I had to fish up through the other day. To replace this and this. There's a plug in the back bedroom that I'm not really sure what the plan was or what they were trying to go for, but for whatever reason they ended up using that as a jumper or a junction box to then power the plug that's over here in the front bedroom behind me and below me. And this was fished through the wall, or actually out into the closet of the front bedroom, down the wall, then back through the wall to the plug that's below here. So, of course, there's blocking about halfway down the wall that won't allow you to just, you know, fish this down through there like you're supposed to be able to, or normally would. And since this is old BX cable and fairly brittle, what I did is I opened up my holes up here and gave it one good yank, and it came out. I initially tried to string a string from my BX to the new wire with a series of hooks and string and whatnot, but that didn't work, so I ended up taking a nail tied to the string and dropping it down through a hole over here that lines up with the hole down below, and was eventually able to pull up a nice new 14-2 Romex cable. So the plan is to put a junction box up here, probably right there, and then take the live wire, which actually will be this one, but I'm going to start it over there somewhere, and take that so it gets power from that live wire into the junction box. Then this plug will break off to go down into the back bedroom, and then this will break off the junction box to go down into the front bedroom, which is how you're kind of supposed to do things these days, or how I've chosen to do things these days anyways. It's possible to use the box down below here as its own junction box, but not the way they were doing it, and since I'm going to, there was no way to fish this wire back down there and whatnot, since this is old and brittle, I decided to just give it a good yank and then fish new wire through and fix up my, or not, well, it's actually not my mess. I guess it is my mess since I own the place, but fix up the old wiring mess that is right here. So luckily it's not too hot today, so the working in the attic isn't that bad, but it is probably going to get a little bit toasted. So that there is the plug hole that the jumper was jumped off of to power the plug in the other room. So I got a roll of 14-2 that I, was able to fish up through the wall there. And this is the closet in the front bedroom. So what they had done is they had drilled a bunch of holes in the top plate of the wall here in hopes of fishing the wire down there through normally, but what they didn't count on is the fact that there's blocking across the studs halfway through the wall. So I guess the poor man's way to fix that is to poke a hole in the ceiling. They had the wire run through the closet, and they had there's a fist-sized hole right there that they made, and then shove the wire into the wall and go into that other plug. And that wire, of course, went across the ceiling and then goes down this wall to power that plug. So by the end of the hour, I will have that plug and this plug more correctly wired than they previously were. So this is your Weekend Handyman's Guide to Electricity. Another thing that they had done, if you're going to use a plug box as a junction box as well, what you're supposed to do is have a pigtail off of here, pigtail off of here, that then gets, twisted around the live wires that go into the junction box, another pigtail for the continuation, yada 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 yada. What you can do, an old wise trick, or what they used to do, is you can have the white wire here, you can have the black wire there, then you can connect your ground, and then you could also then run the white wire here and the white wire here, and this would be sort of wired in series with the wiring, which isn't correct, but it is how they used to do it. It is possible to do, but you're not supposed to anymore. Like I said, the correct way is to run a pigtail off to the live wire, and then you can continue on your way. And that sort of essentially makes the wiring for this plug be in parallel with the circuit rather than in series of the circuit, is what you're doing. And that reduces the electricity flowing through the system. It makes it more efficient, I suppose. And if you're running something off of the plug, this will get a little bit warm and whatnot, and has a risk of fire. Whereas running this off parallel, the only time there's ever power going through here is if you actually have something plugged in and being used. Anyways, we'll catch back up in a minute. So I attempted to be not too much of a bullock and attempted to bring everything up here at once, everything that I was going to need. But that usually doesn't work out because it's in me too much to be a pull-lock, so we'll see how this goes. But I've made my choice on where I'm going to put the junction box, so everything is going to be nice and neat and whatnot. There we go! So my attempts of not forgetting something failed. So I forgot my fancy dandy clamp tool, which if you ever do electrical work, these are amazing to have. They save your fingers and save you from having to use pliers and a hammer and a fucking screwdriver and shit. So my attempts of not being too much of a pull-lock still failed me because I forgot the staples, I forgot my wire twisting pliers. What else did I forget? There was something else I forgot too. So I attempted to not be too much of a pull-lock and it still failed me. But anyways, I got all my white wires together and wire nutted, black wires together, wire nutted, ground with a pigtail to the ground screw. And I did in fact use the ground cable off of the BX cable, which is something most people don't do. But anyways, I'm going to now staple the wire down and put all this together. Oh crap, you know what else I forgot though? I forgot the cover for it, so I still gotta go back down the fucking ladder anyways. Fucking bullshit. So the next step of my process is to now take care of that pile of shit. I gotta cut off my Romex where I want to and work on getting a new outlet in there. I have a new outlet there, and then this light switch, which is what that blue box is right there. That is an old work box, and I'm going to end up replacing this because this is clapping in the breeze. So that old work box has little wing tabs that hopefully will expand behind the wall somewhere, and I can make this not flap in the breeze like that. Otherwise, I'm not really sure. So I'll catch back up in a minute, because a lot of this is just, you know, if I tried to film it, all you would see is me hunched over an outlet, probably swearing a couple times. There's not really much to look at. I'm just nipping off wires and then, you know, stripping and then attaching outlets and putting covers on and whatnot. That might be a little bit more interesting though.